verse 7, when God is looking, he says, this is what God has made. Then he says, and the grass before it was in the earth, the herbs before it grew, for God had not caused it to rain. Verse 5, because there was no man. Why could God not bring it out? Because God had delegated authority on the earth. There are some things God wants to do that will never be done until you start believing God to do it. There are some buildings, there are some operations God has intended and blessed you with, but it will not happen until you start, until you believe. Because God does not have the authority to do it until you initiate it, until you give God permission, until you agree with God, until you say, as it is in heaven, let it be done. So God has planned for your healing. God has planned for your elevation. God has planned for your prosperity. God has planned for your health. God has planned for your dominion. Everything is in heaven it is done, already done. But it cannot happen here until you know about it and you ask God to do it. And you work with God. So it's a partnership. You are co-workers with God. Don't fold your hands and say, my God will do it. You are the God that will do it. You are the God that God expresses himself through, as we'll see now. So you see now, God is saying, let us make a God, someone like us. Okay? And then he brings that being onto the earth. So God is about to create on the physical earth now, the physical. So everything God did in chapter 1 is spiritual. Now, for it to be physical, there's some physical part, the physical land, that was there before even he started to speak. The water, physical water, the physical land, all that was there before. Notice he didn't create it, he just separated them. So he's not recreating the hardware, but every living thing was dead. Life form was gone. The kingdom of darkness, spirits were governing and controlling. So God begins to bring life back onto the earth. And then God creates life forms. They were not there before, but they started being there after man came, because spiritually God has given mankind, say, you run this place. So God will not initiate the coming out of it, even though it is made, until a man knows the mind of God and says, God, and man here is man and woman, mankind, knows the mind of God and says, let this happen.